Hello and welcome back along to the stream. Hopefully this is all working. I've done a bit of tweaking with OBS just to make sure that we're all sorted because I've upped the video and so on and so forth. I also forgot to launch Restream Chat, which is probably going to want to do an update. But so be it. I will explain what we're doing in a minute. You can probably see from the title what we are kind of doing. Let me go and check that my audio levels are sorted.
Chat window, edit, flightsummer44@mail.com.
Oh, this wants me to I think it wants me to
profile, Microsoft booking, chat row 1, autopilot main panel row 1, chat row 1. Chat window, don't have edit protected, blank. Start, circle.
I really hate
blank.
this
Start, chat window.
thing. Right, I think
chat page .jam.
we're sorted with
Microsoft.
the chat. Let me check audio levels. Alright, let's see if that my test message. There we go.
Test.
We're sorted. We are sorted. Everything seems to be working now. How is this?
CPU at 39.6%.
Oh, the CPU and everything seems to be doing pretty good today on the video. Right. So, what are we doing? I usually would play a bit of music, but it's taken me that long to get the bloody thing set up that I can't be bothered. Because I've just had to, create flight plans and blah blah blah. Because I thought I'd do it all before we actually came on stream. So we sat down on the ground in Moscow, Sheremetyevo. I don't even know what it's called. I don't really care. I don't understand Moscow's airport system, because they have three massive airports. They've got Doma Summer, I don't know what it's called. They've got Sheremety something, I don't know what that's called, and they've got another one, and they're three massive airports where traffic goes in and out of. No idea why they have so many airports, but they do. And we are at Sheremetyevo, or however you pronounce it. The code for the airport is uniform Echo Echo, because I wanted to fly this thing, the cargo, not cargo, the airbridge cargo 7478, because it's got the TSS sounds in it. I love these sounds, and it's a really fun aircraft. And I found this flight going from Moscow, Sheremetyevo, down to Amsterdam, and it's about 3 hours 30 minutes or something, this flight. I was originally going to do the return, but I don't think we're going to have time. I'm going to have to go and do things whilst we're flying, but I thought we'd actually give this flight a good go and see how we do. So we're currently, like I say, on the ground in the 7478. We are all set up with FSX pilot. The flight plan is all in place. We are cruising at 38,000 feet, of course, because it's a heavy aircraft. We can go that little bit higher. The flight plan, like I say, is all done. It was done through SimBrief. Our fuel is all in. So I'm just going to kind of do a bit of talking before we go, just to allow anyone who wants to filter in. And because, like I say, I usually play music, but I just couldn't be bothered because of the whole thing that I had to set up. So yes, it's the first stream of the year. The only video I've uploaded this year was just an FSX pilot tutorial, but it's the first stream of the year, so I'm sure the channel will continue to grow throughout this year, and all of that, and we are continuing to do so. So we might as well start getting the aircraft set up, and then we can just do whatever in cruise, because there's no point just sitting down here on the ground. So of course it's a 4-engine aircraft, the 7478. It has the GE NX engines. So what we're going to do is just get these started up, because we've got quite a while to get them started up. It's going to take a while because we've got to start up 4. So let's begin the startup process. Can we hear them starting up outside? We can.
Burak Yuksek, hello.
Hi Borak. I was having a look the other day if the new Istanbul airport was in the sim, because I know it's become operational now, but it's not in the sim yet. There is no new Istanbul airport in the sim yet, so hopefully that'll come soon. Right, we can hear one of our engines is starting up. It's ridiculously powerful, this aircraft. It's a real heavy. Right, that sounds like engine 2 is coming on. How's the
40.8% RAM used, CPU at 62.1%.
okay, the CPU is pretty high, but you know, everything is running, so. FSX Pilot recently did an update.
Yuksek, the name will be Istanbul Airport when it comes, I think.
Istanbul Airport. How original. Who would have thought it?
Yuksek, it's not fully operational.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there goes our third engine. Yeah, that's interesting, boy. I did notice that I'll go back inside. Yeah, I noticed, because what I did was I did a flight from Ataturk to Ankara, if you remember, in that A320, and there was a few days ago I was looking at it and I was going to bring it back, so I went to go and bring it back, and that flight was no longer scheduled into Ataturk, so I don't know if that was then scheduled to go to the new airport, but it wasn't scheduled in Ataturk.
They thought of using Istanbul as a brand.
Oh dear. Okay. Right. Yeah, it's very
Nick
original.
Cantos, hello.
Hello,
What
Nick.
have you
Welcome
been?
to the stream.
It's been a while since you've been to Scream.
It has been a while. I think you mean stream, not scream, because I don't want to scream. But yeah, it has been a little while. I had a Christmas break. I think all our engines are started up. Yeah, I had a Christmas break, not really from streaming and everything. I just had a holiday. I've done a few uploaded videos and not a lot else really. I just it's always kind of been a thing with me in the channel that I just stream when I feel like it, and sometimes that means we have a good few weeks break. Sometimes it means, you know, we stream quite a few times in a few weeks, but I've never been able to stick to schedules because of time constraints. So. But it is what it is. Right, I think we're all set up. I love the sound of this aircraft. I am going to be checking the RAM and CPU quite a bit today, because as I say, I've reintroduced video to the channel. I went through a stage where what I was doing was I'm slowly phasing the video up until the computer can't handle it, so I know what my maximum video quality is, and I've done some messing about. So I'm going to be checking that, but we seem all good today. Right. Now, we're not going to do the old FSX Pilot taxi because we're going to destroy Moscow Sheremetyevo Airport or something.
Hi and welcome back.
Hi, Yannick. Well, yeah, we've got some people coming into the stream already. As I said, a great community. Right, let's go here. Now, SimBrief gave me a departure runway of runway 24 left. So that's what we're going to do.
Simulation unpaused.
Right, we
Time
are at the
acceleration
runway.
is 1.
If only they could do that in real life. I'm sure they'd love to save a bit of time by just teleporting. Right, so our 4 engines are all powered up and everything. Flaps have just been set. I don't know how loud this aircraft's going to be, so if we get into the air and it's ridiculously loud, just bear with me while I turn it down and everything. Right, we should be all sorted. Let's just run the flight plan.
Switching to true heading display for departure, sir. Landing, Hookstryer and NAV lights on. What's up?
Hey, Yuga.
Long time not seeing rate you. Set to 2,300 feet per minute. Eurofly?
I'll answer your question in just a second, Yuga, once we're up in the air. Right.
Speed set to 220
I think brakes
knots.
have been released.
NAV on.
I think.
V1.
Yeah, they have V1.
Rotate.
Rotate. Oh yeah.
NAV on.
And there we go, airborne. Why have we got ATC speaking? Go away. Right, we're going to need some control with the. We're going to need some control of the speed sensitivity in this aircraft. Just listen to that; it's so loud. Blooming aircraft. It's such a heavy aircraft. Selected. It's like screams out of the airport. Right, let's see how we're doing. Have we completely overshot our speed? Yeah, we have a little bit. Let's just go in here and
Flare up. Flip. Speed 0 height. M. Drop. Holding leg. Throttle steering. Activate.
Throttle steering force. Let's just put that up to like 7.
Service. Cruise. Minimum. Approach. Cruise. Okay. Cancel. But okay. But press.
And that will help us a bit. Let's just leave us on an outside view. Anyway, we are away. So thank you to all the people who are saying welcome back. As I say, it has been a little while since we streamed. I think the last stream was that Dash 8 flight that we did. Right, how are we doing? Still messing about with the speed a bit, but there we go. And we're climbing just fine. Let's leave it on an outside view. Is there any more news regarding Eurofly 3? I think there was a question. There is, kind of. Stefan's been a bit more active on the mailing list lately, giving out a bit of information. He hopes, I think, to have it out by the summer. I can't even remember what people know and what they don't know about what's actually going to, come in Eurofly 3. But it's still being developed, as far as I'm aware. It's not in a beta stage yet. And it's hopefully going to be out by the summer. But he has answered quite a few questions on the mailing list. I don't know if you're on there, Yuga, but he has been more active, which is obviously he's not usually that active. Tell me if you want me to turn the aircraft down a bit, because I know it is quite loud. So if it's too loud for you and you can't hear me, then tell me. But yeah, Borak, is it LTFM, the code for the new Istanbul? Yeah, I did see that some flights were going into it, but I looked in the sim and it's not there. So hopefully in the future it will be added. How are we doing on? Yeah, we're doing alright on RAM and CPU, just about.
Next waypoint Maxi selected.
I think, is Restream chat even still working? Let me just check that. It seems to be. Just didn't read out a few messages. It might be because the text-to-speech voice, when air traffic control talks, it turns the text-to-speech voice down. Yeah, I like the ATC, Nick. I really do like having ATC. The problem that I've had is, and I may do some videos where I fly with ATC, it's just when I'm streaming and I'm talking to people in the chat and I'm flying with FSX Pilot and all this, I don't want really to have ATC on, because it just gets in my way and there's all this babble going on as well. Are we above 10,000 feet yet?
Autopilot main panel dialog heading course HDG 263 ideas 0250 KNTV/S2299 FT/12,200.
Oh yeah, we are. We can increase our speed.
Speed set to 308 knots.
These 4 massive GE engines. I am just going to turn this aircraft down a little bit. Because the wind, I always find with the TSS sound packs, which is what that one is, the wind sounds are really loud. I don't know why. There we go. It's a bit better. Well, FSX pilots idle the throttles. Its speed control in this aircraft is really bad. But it's not actually, it's not doing too badly now, it's getting there.
Booger Kyar, okay, no problem.
I'll tell you what I actually forgot to do.
I like air traffic control speech.
Oh, it's reading her out now.
When it becomes more active maybe. Yannick Class Syard, do you know if Stefan would be interested to have someone out with the game development? Yuksek, when it becomes more active maybe.
Why is it reading these out now?
Unfortunately not. I only follow his Facebook site.
Right, okay. Yeah, so 1,126 nautical miles is the current distance to there. Right, yeah, I've no idea why Restream Chat just read all those out. Let me just go through them. So yeah, do you know if anyone else? Do you mean as in like the coding side? If you mean like you know how to code things like Eurofly, then I'm sure you'll be interested. It really depends what you mean by development, I think. You only follow his Facebook site. Yeah, I don't know. I can't even remember what he actually said on the mailing list, but he's certainly been answering, you know, more people's questions, because there has been a lot. I think he just wanted to update the list in general, because there's, you know, as you can imagine, when someone says, you know, last year that it was supposed to release at Christmas and nothing came, everyone was kind of confused. But he just came on the list and said kind of, you know, look, it is a massive project and it's not going to be yet. Right, how are we doing? Set speed units. I can't even remember how you do this. Set speed unit space mark, is that right?
Greater set speed units mark. Greater.
Yeah. I think that's right. 0.65 mark. Let's see if we can go set speed 0.73 or something like that.
Speed set to Mach 0.73.
And we're away, so we can just sit back and relax. Yeah, I literally forgot to start it on Project Fly.
Yannick Class Syard, yes, I mean coding.
I mean, it really depends what your experience is, but there's no, I don't think it would be a problem if you emailed him and actually
overspeed warning.
Oh, bloody overspeed.
Overspeed recovery initiated. Spoilers set. Please adjust climb rate and speed, sir.
It's no wonder we've got an overspeed when FSX pilot
0.65
absolutely rams the throttles up to full
overspeed
power.
situation recovered, sir.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a problem if you email him and tell him what experience you've got. If you say that you, because I mean, I would imagine he could certainly do with some help on the coding side, especially considering that it's a massive project, you know, and all this kind of stuff, and he's not, it's just kind of a hobby, so I'm sure he would love to have some help with it.
Autopilot main panel dialog heading course HDG 264 0.63 Mach V/S.
Are you even gonna
0.7?
Yeah, I want you
Speed set
to
to Mach 0.70.
Thank you, FSX pilot. Yeah, I think that would be helpful, because it's trying to find the right person. I think it's got to be someone like in the community who knows coding, who knows. You don't have to know aviation especially, but you know, you've got to have a general understanding of aviation and what we're trying to achieve. And to find someone like that is very difficult, which is I think why Stefan's always been doing just coding, you know, on his own, because there's never really been anyone with the knowledge on coding or aviation to do it. Now I came along and had the knowledge on aviation,
Switching to true headings.
that I could help him out with.
Flying airway L29 until reaching Benim.
But I obviously didn't have the
Target BG selected.
I obviously didn't have the coding experience because I
on.
just don't. I haven't never coded. I'm just going to turn the recover box off because I don't want it to keep overspeeding and then bringing the throttles back, because this aircraft may do that. Oops. Such a weird aircraft with FSX pilot, this one. We might as well set speed like 0.78 now.
Speed set to Mach 0.78.
I have a feeling my restream chat isn't working properly. Like, it doesn't seem to be reading out the messages. I'm having to use my phone, which is annoying. Where is Marshall? I don't know where he is. He's around still. He's just not here right at the second. What was the other question? I said FS6 pilot going up, but then I cut off. Oh. Am I actually... Yeah, it says we're connected. It's showing that we're actually streaming, so it should be working. Oh yeah, the Yannick is there. Yeah, try to. Yeah, I'd say to do that, Yannick. I mean, I guess it would be helpful. I'm just going to restart my restream chat because it doesn't seem to be working properly. Like, it just doesn't seem to be pulling the chat. Which is weird. But we are definitely live, so. Now it wants me to log in again.
Chat row 1 column 2. Chat window edit protected blank. Start. Don't have a login sign up button. Don't edit protected. Chat window. View slash load button. View slash loader page button. View slash loader page.
I think that's working now.
Microsoft Flight Sim.
Yeah. Restream chat's been a bit temperamental at the minute.
262 ideas 0. Chat window edit with flight 44 at mail.com.
Like, why does it want me to log in again?
Microsoft Flight.
Okay, I'll deal with this in a minute. I don't know what it's doing. The plane is fine. Let's set speed 0.8.
Speed set to Mach 0.80.
Chat window. Don't have a login. Edit protected. Blank. Start.
I'm typing in my password. Is that going to work? Are you actually going to
edit protected. Blank. Folder view. User
I'm connected to the internet. I don't like the Restream chat application. I really don't. Because it's just bad. It doesn't.
Target 2 selected.
Menu. Chat window button. View. Edit protected.
It won't even log in. Like, this is ridiculous.
Start. Chat window. Edit with flight 44 mail. Edit protected.
Why does it keep wanting me to log in, you crap thing? Like, when it works, it's fine, but when it doesn't, it's just so bad.
Edit protected. Blank. Start. Don't have button unknown.
Right. Is that going to log me in or not?
Menu. Auto. Microsoft Track Flight Pro Autopilot. Microsoft Flight.
No, it's going to close itself. Right. I don't think I'm going to be able to use Restream chat today. Hugo, I think Restream chat. Yeah, something's going on with my Restream chat, and I don't know what it is. That's the problem. It's being weird. It's like it's not letting me log in. Alex, hi, welcome to the stream. As you can see, we're flying the beautiful 7478. Right, we're getting up towards our cruising altitude. So I'm just going to do set climb, say 1200.
Climb rate set to 1,200 feet per minute.
Because we are getting pretty high up.
Speed set to Mach 0.83.
Just try Restream chat again. I don't know if they've done an update or something that's messed it up. I mean, I did change my OBS settings, but that shouldn't affect Restream.
Autopilot main panel dialog heading course HDG 272 0.81 Mach V/S 1187 FT chat window edit with flight number 44 at mail.com. View slash edit protected.
Yeah, that's my email.
Start chat window.
Right.
Edit with flight number 44 at mail.com.
Yeah, it's not accepting my.
Don't have a login. Sign up button. View slash login page. Edit with flight number 44.
Which is really weird.
Blank. Start.
Like I'm trying to.
Button.
Does that log in?
Menu. Chat window button. View slash edit protected. Don't have a login.
No, it's not going to log me in. I don't think it won't work. I've no idea why.
Don't edit protected. Chat window edit with flight number 44 at mail.
Yeah, I know my email. Thank you. I don't think this is going to work. I'm just going to have to read the chat myself because it's just been really bad.
View slash button. View slash loader page dot zap button. View slash loader page.
Oh, it may. I don't know if that's just done it now.
View slash loader page dot. Deep chat window edit with flight number 44 at mail.com. Chat row 1 column 1. Chat window edit protect button view slash login edit with flight number 44 at mail dot edit protected blank. Yeah,
it's not working. I'm just going to read the chat off my phone because it's not working today at all. It's just been really bad. Yannick, you've already had that. Yeah, I think there's a Restream chat. I don't like the application at all. It's not very accessible, and it's a pretty bad application when it does this because it doesn't work. It's not like there's so many unlabeled buttons. See, like I'm trying to log back in. I've filled the email field was filled in, and then I did the password and enter, and it just doesn't accept it. I don't know what it's doing. So I'm just going to read it off my phone because it's just being terrible. Which I know is annoying and it's not ideal because like everyone else can't hear the messages, but don't worry, I'll read them out to the stream if there's anything important. Right, how is our plane doing? 35,000 and we're looking good. Are we, yeah, we are heading in the right direction, which is always good. CPU's actually doing pretty good for saying I'm doing video or streaming video. I don't think it's to do with FSX, Hugo. I think it's just the Restream chat application. They just haven't designed it very well. It shouldn't be linked to FSX in any way. I may need to just restart the computer after the stream and try and use it then. It's just one of them quirky things. Right, looks like our engines are pretty stable. Oh, and I think we're also over the ocean because we've only got the one outside view. But we should be levelling off pretty soon at 38,000 feet, so we're pretty high up today with our cruise and the flight level. I mean, I can try Restream Chat one more time, but it just, like, I launch it like this, and it launches. Gives me chat window. Okay. Oh, I think we might be in.
Burek Yuksek,
There we go.
you said FSX Pilot got an update, but then you cut off.
I think we're back with Restream Chat. It's going to read out everyone's messages.
Yannick Plas-Syard, thanks. I'll try to send an email and
just
we'll
ignore
see what
this,
comes
it's reading
next.
out everyone's messages that were sent previously.
I think Restream Chat has a big delay on reading. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures, what's up? Yannick Plas-Syard, I already had the problem with a Restream Chat application. Sometimes, it crashes and
I've
you
got
have
a
to log
problem
back
with
in to make
Restream
it work
Chat.
again.
It's reading out all these messages because it crashed.
Booger Kyar, maybe it's because of FSX. I just remember on one stream something I forgot what, also does not work because of a bug with FSX.
There we go. We've reached the end. Hopefully it's going to work now. I've no idea why it didn't work before, but maybe it's working now. Right, we are at 38,000 feet pretty much. Yeah, FSX Pilot did have an update, by the way. It's supposed to be a performance update. It's supposed to help with CPU usage and stuff, because it was there was something that was making it higher. There you go. Yeah, it's working now, Yuga. Yeah, we're working now. We're back with Restream Chat. That's a lot better.
Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures, a lot of livestream applications are like this because people just don't think that there are actual blind live streamers out there, but probably the best one is YouTube.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. It's not Restream Chat, like I wouldn't use it if I had any other alternative, but it just does something that when it works is great, because it'll read my Twitch chat and my YouTube chat, and I haven't got to keep going and messing about with my phone. But yeah, it does this problem. They issue updates and it makes it worse, or it's like Yannick says, it crashes and then you have to log back in.
Target Supec selected.
It just gets on my nerves. But it seems to be fine now. And the problem is I can't test it before the stream, because obviously you have to be streaming for it to read the messages. Like, I wish they added a test button so you can just see if it's actually connected and everything. But there we go. Anyway, so we're now up at cruise. We've got a little while. I'm not in any rush. I'm going to go and eat at some point before we actually land. There we go.
Test.
Yeah, that worked as well, Yannick. It's still up. Restream Chat seems to be back. I think we're at Mach decimal 83. So the 747 can go a lot faster than that, obviously. It's the fastest commercial aircraft that's in use, but we're not in any rush. And the best part is I just got a new a load of TSS sounds for a load of aircraft, for, you know, pretty much every aircraft you could imagine. There's loads that TSS do, and they're very, very good. So we're going to use a lot of them in future videos. So the sound packs that we use should be of better quality. This one we're using today is a TSS one. Let's hear a flyby. Oh. That was a bit weak, considering it's a 747. Sounded like a fairy jet or something. Anyway.
Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. The cool thing is YouTube actually does have the capability.
Has the capability to do what, Alex? To run a test, you mean? I don't know. I like, because the reason I use Restream is obviously to stream to Twitch as well. I don't have that many viewers on Twitch because Twitch is predominantly
Twitch on iOS was 2 years ago very well, but now it gets every update more AMD, more inaccessible.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very sad.
Twitch, I do watch a lot of Twitch on iOS and it's awful. Like I wasn't on the Twitch scene 2 years ago, but it doesn't, like Twitch on iOS, it won't read the chat. You can just about find a streamer and click on them and start the stream, but the playback controls aren't very accessible. It jumps around a lot. It's not great at all. But yeah, I don't have a big viewership on Twitch. I just have a few sighted viewers on there who drop by the stream every so often.
Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. Yeah, that should have been a little louder.
Yeah, the flyby should have, Alex, yeah. I think FSX flyby sounds on technology isn't that great, but it's the 7.4, you really want to hear the massive, you know, 4 engines as it soars past. There we go.
Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. Yes.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So you can run a test on YouTube. I don't know if that works with Restream, because the way it actually works with Restream is I send the stream to Restream servers and then they push it on to YouTube and to Twitch. That's why I use Restream, because I used to just stream directly to YouTube, but I do it to both now. So. Actually, it was a while ago when we streamed. I've just looked on my Twitch. The 8th of December was the last time we streamed, so it was almost a month. So yeah, but everyone's still here, eager to watch Flight Sim as ever.
Viewer Kyuksek, I think you should stream some Flowgit destinations from well-known accidents.
Some flight destinations from well-known. What you mean? Like fly the flight that they flew, or like recreate the accident? I mean, I guess some accidents could be recreated. I'm not sure all of them could, because like some of them were, you know, like things in the cockpit failing and stuff, and we don't use everything in the cockpit. We just use FSX Pilot, but possibly. I'm not sure what I think about that, to be honest.
Viewer Kyuksek, fly the flight they flew.
Yeah. Possibly, that would be interesting. Blind pilot flies flight which sighted pilots crashed. Blind pilot lands successfully. I also found, if anyone's interested, if you watch the Eurofly traffic page, you'll have noticed I did a load of long hauls on Eurofly because I found a way to bypass the identification system. You know how you can't leave the computer in Eurofly because whenever you enter a new state you have to identify yourself, and it's really annoying. Well, I used a program called Auto Hotkey with a little script, and what it does is it basically presses the F2 key, I think it's about every 40 seconds, and I coded this little script, and so you put your computer just in the Eurofly window, you can leave the computer, and because it'll keep pressing the F2 key, nothing will happen until of course you enter a new state and it wants you to identify, and it'll press the F2 key automatically and you'll be identified. So if you're in an aircraft with an autopilot that can handle TCAS and stuff anyway, or you can just turn those off, then you can essentially leave Eurofly just to fly and you don't have to worry about identifying, which is really helpful for me because, like, you know, if I have to go and sleep overnight, I can just leave Eurofly to do an overnight flight, or if I have to go and eat or go out, I can just leave it, it's not a problem. So it's kind of a cheap way to just bypass it.
Target Tegla selected.
Oh, I think Restream Chat's not working again because it hasn't read out the past few messages.
Chat window. Link.
Yeah, it's a really weird.
Link. Menu.
It's showing that it's working, but it doesn't look like it is. Marshall, how long have we got to go? I'm not entirely sure, but it says 938 nautical miles. So, I mean, if you look me up on the Project Fly radar, you'll be able to see how long it says. We are RU153. That's our flight number.
Flight project. Chat row 1 column 3. Chat row 1 column. Chat window. Link.
I don't know what's going on with Restream Chat. I may have a look actually after or you know, before the next stream, and see if there's an application that can do the same thing but do it better. Because it just doesn't seem to read them properly. But there we go.
Target Lexi selected.
Yeah, I just felt that Eurofly thing. I mean, it's not like great unless you enjoy doing long hauls, and I don't necessarily enjoy them, but it is helpful as in to get your hours up on Eurofly because you can take off, you know, go to bed or whatever, or do something and just leave it and it'll identify. Whereas previously it's like you start a flight on Eurofly, you can't leave the computer for more than like 30 minutes or something, or you know, unless you were crossing a massive ocean, because you knew that you were going to enter an airspace.
Hooger Kyar, I think I read you can test stream on Twitch, but unfortunately only to check your upload. I don't know it's working with Restream chat.
Oh, Restream chat's back now.
Yeah. Very interesting. Laughing face. Marshall Fairbrother, how much longer do you have to go?
Now it's going to read all them out.
Marshall Fairbrother, this is the second time I'm sending this because it seems to be messed up. How much longer do you have to go? Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures, interesting. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures, I just kinda hope nobody from Europe I was watching when you were talking about it, because then they can fill that with Eurofly 3.
Yeah, don't worry Alex, because I know with Eurofly 3 that identifying I don't think is going to be a problem. I think, and I don't know this for sure, but I will push for it if it's not in the beta, but I have advised Stefan to do this. To remove the identify feature, or at least to have a checkbox as an option, because it's just not realistic. It does not happen where you enter a country and you have to identify. They will have you on radar, they will know who you are, you know, that's how it works. If it's a strange aircraft with no call sign associated with it, then yeah, of course they're going to want to know what's happening, but it's not protocol that you fly into a country and pilots have to identify themselves, and if they don't, then within 3 minutes they're going to get shot down by an F-16 or something. That's just, yeah, I don't know what's going on with Restream chat. Like I say, sometimes it works, then it doesn't work and it comes back, so but it is what it is.
Chat row 1, track flight, heading level, heading. 889
889 nautical miles to destination. Let's see what our ground speed is, shall we?
Current ground speed is 837 kilometers per hour or 520 miles per hour.
Yeah, we're not doing anything major here, we're just cruising along, like I say. Let's see what our actual ground speed is in knots. 451 knots, yeah. Of course, pretty slow for a 747 if you consider how fast it could be going, but it's just fine for us. We don't need to go fast because I'm going to go and eat in a minute anyway. So I want the flight to last a bit longer so I can go and do that and come back and land. Right, I'm going to go and eat now quickly whilst we fly. I'm going to leave you with this this view. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. Should just stay cruising along. Should be absolutely fine. I tell you what, I am going to pump the speed up a little bit just because you know, we might as well now
Target
go and eat.
selected.
Oh great.
Speed set to Mach 0.85.
So we're just going to speed up that little bit. So everything should stay just as it is. You can still put things in the chat and still chat amongst yourselves. I'll be back and I'll look at the chat and you know, just answer any questions. Marshall, if you're still here and there's anything, you can probably answer them in the chat as well. So yes, I will be back once I have eaten, probably about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So if you do want to close the stream and come back then or whenever, then that's absolutely fine. I will see you all after I've eaten. Well, let me answer Alex just before I go. Of course, yeah, I guess if you're a stealth aircraft, yes. But Eurofly is more for commercial kind of aircraft. It's not really related to stealth aircraft. I mean, you know, obviously you can make them for Eurofly, but it's not really part of it. Like I say, I'm probably going to hopefully get Stefan to make it an option, because it's just really weird for commercial. You just wouldn't have that going into a new country and they'd ask you to identify. You know, if you got into a new country and you'd been flying for a good amount of time and they had no idea who you were, then you know you're going to be in trouble. But you would have a flight plan filed. They would know all about that flight plan and all that good stuff before that. Right, I'll see you all when I get back.
Heading set to a true heading of 255 degrees. Next waypoint Podile selected. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. Of course, if you are in a stealth aircraft, that could be a little bit of an issue. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. But the funny thing is, whenever they tried to find you, they wouldn't be able to shoot you down. Not unless they were right on top of you. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. That would be so cool, a stealth airliner. Marshall Fairbrother, engine type. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. It would use the same and hinders the B-2 does. Marshall Fairbrother, what engines are on this plane? Next waypoint Craigie selected. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. I can't remember right off the top my head unfortunately. I think they are General Electric made though. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. I will be right back. I'm going to go check on that. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. Yep, I was right. General Electric F118S.
Right, I am now back. I'll go through the chat in just a second. Let's see how we're doing with the plane.
Autopilot main panel dialog heading course HDG 265 FPS 0.85 Mach
Right.
0000 FT slash MO 38,000 FT copy 7265.
Looks like we're going direct to a waypoint.
462 kpm.
462 knots on the ground speed and 726 nautical miles. Very good. I did see Marshall asking what engines are on this aircraft. It's got the GE NX engines. The GE, I think it's, I don't know if it stands for something next generation or something. They're the ones that are also on the 787, but they're obviously for the 748. Yeah, it was. That's right. I think Alex. I don't know the full name, but like you've put it in the chat. But yeah, they are General Electrics on the 748. I don't think Restream chat is working at all now, is it?
Link.
Like, it's not giving me any.
Button. View slash chat page. Link. View slash chat page. Microsoft Flight Sim. Microsoft.
It's not reading out any of the chat, so. Hold on, Restream chat. You've proven yourself to be completely useless today. I was thinking about doing the return. We'll see what the time is when we actually get down. I was thinking about doing the return because I'm going to have to take this back to Moscow anyway, because that's where it's based on Project Fly. But I may end up doing that return off stream.
Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. No, we were talking about the stealth airliners that I was thinking about.
Oh right, okay, I see, Alex. As if Restream chat's just suddenly come back to life. It seems to be working now. The stealth airlines, right? I see. Yeah, they would be powered by GE. I see what you mean. Yeah, fair enough. As is this aircraft, but obviously very different engines. But yeah, I may do the return. We'll see. I don't want to do the return and then it gets really late and I'm streaming. So we'll see when we get down. This flight was actually supposed to take about 3 hours 30 minutes, but I don't think it's going to take that because how long have we been live? Well, we've only been live coming up for about 1 hour 20 minutes and we're already about 700 miles away, so it's not going to take 3.5 hours, that's for sure.
43.5% RAM used. CPU at 68.7%.
I'm not doing too bad on the RAM and CPU actually, considering, like I say, I'm streaming video, but it seems to be handling just fine. Because there was a Windows update that I hate. I hate Windows updates because the Windows updates always seem to just break things. I'm sure they're designed to just break random things. Because the last one destroyed my RAM management. So for some reason I'd start up the computer, would be just fine at like 30% RAM, then it'd shoot up to like 100% RAM, the CPU would go right up, then it'd go back down, then it'd go back up, and they just destroyed it. And I tried everything, like seeing if there was something running in Task Manager and going into Task Scheduler and all this rubbish, and it turned out all it was a Windows update because I did a system restore. Such a pain. Why Windows? Yeah, see, that's the problem with Windows.
Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. Yep, that's the Windows for you. That's why I don't
Restream
use
chat's working now. Oh my! I just despair with Restream chat. Like, why is it suddenly working again? I don't know. But yeah, Windows is strange. It's like we have just released a new Windows update. It's fantastic update, and like it should just say in the update notes, P.S. We have also broken. Like, oh. It just completely destroyed the system because like the RAM just got completely smashed to pieces. But it's sorted now, obviously. Otherwise we wouldn't be sat here playing or simming, because it would be destroyed with the whole RAM problem. So of course we're doing a manual speed approach. I got a new joystick the other day from Thrustmaster. It's called. It's the Thrustmaster T Flight Stick X with the joystick and throttle control. Thrustmaster actually have a more expensive joystick, a lot more expensive. It's called the Thrustmaster Warthog, which is approved by the US military.
Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. That's why I use Apple products instead.
Yeah, I mean, I've always used Apple products in terms of phones and tablets, but I started out using PC, and I've always used PC, and I don't think FSX and stuff like that is available on Mac. I mean, obviously you can have your virtual machine and stuff, but I've never done anything like that, and I don't know how stable it is. It would be rather ironic if, like, having a virtual machine or something on the Mac, was more stable than having a Windows PC. That would be so ironic. But I've never used it, so I would have no idea.
Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures. Actually, I think it might be a little bit more stable, at least that's what I've heard.
What an absolute ironic thing that is. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I really wouldn't. Like, I don't think I would switch anytime soon, because I've used PCs, you know, like I say, since forever, and I know how it all works, and I don't think there's a lot of applications that I use that you can get on the Mac. And obviously without running a virtual machine or something like that, but I really wouldn't be surprised if it's more stable on the Mac, because Windows, like I say, with their updates is just terrible. You can go from having, you know, just stable, everything's working just fine, to having, you know, your Windows completely destroyed within a week just because of an update. And it's just like, how does a major tech company release an update that just does something this bad without having it tested, or, you know, without finding this? Like, I get that they're releasing it for a lot of different systems, like, you know, there's going to be a lot of different PCs and tablets and all stuff that are running the updates, so it's not going to be the same on every system. But I mean, really, it's just some of the things that they do. Like, there's so much crap in Windows that just annoys me. Like, when you update to Windows 10, you get this annoying screen and this, like, Cortana thing, and this assistant that wants to tell you the weather. I'm like, I don't want that. I don't need it. I have my phone for that. That's what I use that for. All I want is Windows. Just traditional Windows, just give me that. You know, if you want to modernise it a bit, fine, but I don't want your crap start menu with your, you know, like your tiles and your pop-ups and things. It really annoys me, which is why I still use the classic start menu. Look, if I do that, I've just got menu, and I've just got all these going down here. It's just like the old classic thing, because it really annoys me.
%, RAM used, CPU at 69.5%.
Switching to true headings, sir. Flying airway B120 until reaching Rannoch.
This flight plan's worked relatively well today. Sometimes we have issues with the flight plans that it generates, but it seems to all be pretty good. It's gone to all the airways and waypoints just as it should.
Target KRD selected. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures, they do that on purpose. So that they can prompt you to pay for download so you can get around the bug, and then he wind up needing more when the next update comes.
I mean, they do a lot of things. They want you to be, they want you to follow their kind of ecosystem, don't they? So they force you to do that, which is why they have this whole Cortana thing that's integrated. Like, Cortana is the most crap personal assistant there is. It doesn't even work very well, and it was integrated completely into Windows 10 and shoved in your face. Like, you can't turn it off properly. Like, you can, but it's a real faff. There's not just a toggle like to do it. It's just ugh. So I just don't use any of it. There's some really handy tools. Like the Windows search is terrible. I use a tool called Search Everything, which is just fantastic. It works great, but there's you really have to like find little utilities and programs that you can change that will help you to change your Windows system, to kind of just make it very generic, because that's all what I want it for. I don't want their crap shoved in my face. How are we doing?
Let me
turn my stream down. 590 nautical miles. We're getting there now. We're not doing too badly at all, to be honest. 747 is, as always, barreling towards the destination. So much easier in the 747, because if you're like bored and you're like, oh, I want to get there faster, you can literally bump the speed right up. Like, I mean, the 747 can go, I think the max is it Mach decimal 9, 0.9. I mean, you wouldn't cruise at that, but it can do. So you can really get some speed out of it.
Target your bad selected.
That you can't from any other airliner.
43.3% RAM used. CPU at 68.7%.
I mean, the 747-8 was an interesting choice for Boeing to make, because of course it's. I mean, it's a great plane. I really enjoy flying the 747-8 in the sim, especially with this sound pack, because it's a good sound pack. But like, it's just a weird aircraft for them to make, because the 4 engines is just not the way anymore. I mean, it's just been used for cargo for a bit, sure, and there's a few airlines like Lufthansa and stuff that have picked it up, but it's nowhere near as successful as any of their other long-haul aircraft. Not really surprising, unfortunately.
Target to run selected.
I'm back, my apologies, just had to go for a second. Josh in the chat, hi, welcome. Yeah, Alex, I think the 747 is just fine in terms of its future because it's got the it's got cargo, which is, you know, as long as it's because the cargo industry needs more planes, so it'll use these older aircraft, or you know, there may even be retired commercial aircraft that are now being used for cargo. Like they still use MD-11s, and they'll obviously have 747s. There's a lot of 767s and stuff. So there's a lot of aircraft that are, you know, kind of on the way out in the actual commercial that'll go to cargo. So the 747 is certainly not done yet, but it's just weird that Boeing made the 748 when they knew that airlines, you know, really aren't going to want to buy a new 4-engine aircraft that's going to be a lot less efficient. What happened to your stream the other day, Josh? I saw you were doing or you were going to do a 787 long haul or something, but then something happened with your graphics card and it didn't work out or something. I don't know. I saw something about that, but I didn't actually watch the stream because it was like really early morning or something here. I also need to do that DLL for radar contact and find out where it actually goes, because I want to have a look at radar contact, but there's that error with the flipping DLL.
Track flight project flight disk 545 nm. Microsoft Flight Simulator X.
Alex, you see at least about 4 747s, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember, which airport were you at? Like your local airport? I'm sure you've told me this before. But I just remember it's like a massive commercial and cargo like hub. But yeah, they're certainly still around. It's weird that they used the 74 on this route because it's only like 3 hours, but I guess its massive cargo capacity makes it ideal. It's kind of the same with the A380s. They're being phased out now as well. Not phased out, but not a lot of airlines are buying them because they're still 4-engined, and you know, they're so massive with the passenger capacity that airlines sometimes can't even fill it. Oh dear. Oh Josh, yeah. Once FSX pilots got it's really weird when you get into cruise with some aircraft. Sometimes it like goes up and down, but it almost sounds like it's getting used to the throttles, and then it finally kind of sorts them out, and then you're alright. And then the graphics card does that. Oh dear. That's weird. I've never had that happen, but maybe. I mean,
heading set to a true heading
I don't
of
have my
272 degrees.
Visual settings that high.
Switching to true headings.
I have a load of stuff turned down.
Flying airway L983 until reaching Rumar.
Which obviously means that it doesn't look
target not selected.
It doesn't look as good on the stream, you know, in terms of visuals, but it means
target selected.
That it's easier on performance. And plus, default P3D doesn't look great on the visuals, even if you have all the stuff turned up. Because like all the sighted simmers have all these like visual add-ons that do like clouds and textures and blah blah.
Hey all.
Oh come on, Restream
Alex
chat.
Williamson's Blind
He's
Adventures.
doing this thing and then he's
The
reading out all the
industry
messages.
as a whole has been needing a lot more planes
Yeah,
because
thanks
of
Restream.
Amazon and all the
Thank
other
you.
online
We
stores.
already know about this. We've done
Alex
all this
Williamson's
already.
Blind Adventures. I see at least 4 a day around here. A rinks. Yeah, the graphics card hung 1 hour into the dang flight. You know, when FSX pilot actually settled down with the throttles and it sounded like an aircraft in cruise. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures, Piedmont Triad International.
Piedmont Triad, yeah. I remember, I think you wanted me to do a flight out of it on Eurofly a while ago, but the Eurofly doesn't have that airport, of course it doesn't.
A rinks, yeah, I might turn down the display stuff a bit. I'm getting sighted viewers on Twitch though, probably because of the visuals, so we'll have to fiddle with them to find a balance. Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures, which is really weird.
Right, yeah, Josh, I mean, the sighted viewers on Twitch tend to come, especially if you're in the Microsoft Flight Simulator X tab, which I think you usually do on Twitch. They just kind of, especially if like the big streamers aren't streaming, they'll kind of come in. Like I've seen on forums, the P3D visuals, even at like max, the default sim with P3D, like for sighted simmers, is not good at all. Like it looks bad. Like it doesn't look good, but they have a lot of add-ons which we don't. Like obviously it's going to look a bit better with the visuals turned up.
Marshall Fairbrother, I'm still here.
Are you still
just
there,
got
Marshall?
my guitar plugged into the amp, so I'm not on TT.
Alright, yeah, that's
if you
fine.
are, I'll come up.
No, it's alright, Marshall. It's kinda on the computer not to open any other applications. I think we'll be fine. We're doing absolutely fine, actually.
44.5% RAM used. CPU at 69.8%.
Yeah, we'll be fine. But yeah, that's fine, Marshall. But yeah, you may need to turn down some of the visuals. I mean, you've got a pretty good system there, haven't you, Josh? Because you've got, what did you say? You've got 16 gigs of RAM. I can't remember what your CPU is, but it's better than, I think it was better than my CPU, or it might be the same CPU. But whatever you've got a pretty good system. And you recently got a graphics card, didn't you, as well, a new one? I can't remember what that was as well, but I remember seeing you said that. So you've got a pretty good system, so you shouldn't need to turn them down like massively. And Alex, yeah, that is weird. I don't know why Eurofly doesn't have the airport, seeing as it's an international one, but there's a lot of airports Eurofly doesn't have. Because I know Josh was trying to make some task packs and stuff, and there was a lot that weren't there. But that will be solved in EF3. But yeah, I think it's because it's user submitted at the minute with airports. So if it's just one that's missed, then yeah. Like there are some massive airports that aren't in Eurofly. I think the Washington Dulles Airport isn't in Eurofly. Like you are.
A rinks, no, that's a capture card for streaming consoles.
Oh, you got a capture card.
16
right,
GB
okay.
though for the RAM.
Yeah, so your system should be more than fine. Like I mean, I know you're streaming and stuff. FSX Pilot, I have noticed with the latest update it was a bit better on performance, because I did I think it was the other day, once I'd flown with FSX Pilot, I messed around with MCE and did a bit of flying and practicing my takeoffs and whatever, and just controlling the aircraft, because it's so nice to have an application that doesn't constantly mess with the throttles. And you know, we had a few crashes on takeoff, because that's what MCE does with some aircraft, and overspeeding, but I noticed specifically that the performance on MCE was like the RAM and the CPU were far better with that than when
Alex
FSX
Williamson's
Pilot's up
Blind
and running.
Adventures. We could have a jam session one day because I messed around on the keyboard a little bit.
Yeah, we could get a blind flight simmer band going on
Target
on
Givar
Team
selected.
Talk. I don't know what I could do in a band, but it sounds like we have a
Marshall
few
Fairbrother.
musical
Yeah,
talents
it's
in
plugged
here.
into the amp and the volume is high.
Okay. And I mean, you're using P3D for everything, Josh, as well, so P3D is a lot better on performance, especially during long hauls, simply because of the reason that
Marshall
you
Fairbrother.
can just go out of
Just
the sim.
keep the sound levels under control.
You can go out of the sim. You still got your sound, but you know, like, because if you are in the simulator, like switching views and stuff for like 10 hours or something, then yeah, your performance is going to get a bit laggy, and you know it's going to struggle. But you know, and that's for any computer. But if you can like leave the sim, you know, overnight or whatever, with P3D you can do that, and it's a lot better on performance than FSX. Then it helps, yeah.
Running out track flight disk 470 nm.
Right, we're not too far off now. 478 nautical miles. Yeah, that is, like, you can even tell in this aircraft, Josh, 'cause I know you're having problems with the wind. Like, the wind is really loud. Like, I can't really hear the engines at all. The TSS wind sounds are just really a bit too loud. I mean, maybe it's realistic, I've no idea. I've never been on a 747-8 in my life, but I like to be able to hear the engines a bit as well.
Marshall Fairbrother, what is the IAS? Rinks, what are your environment sounds volume it? I'm not sure if it's realistic either.
Josh, what do I have in my environment? I don't know at the moment. I did turn them down when I flew the 787 though, I know that because I have the 787 Trent engine, the Rolls-Royce Trents and the GEs, and I turned it down then. I think my environment might be on like 70 now, and it's still pretty loud. Like, the wind sound's still overpowering the engines by a lot. don't know, like, you shouldn't be able to hear the engines massively. Like, it's not like... But you should at least be able to hear them a little bit. Especially seeing as there's 4 of them in this aircraft.
Marshall Fairbrother, what is the indicated airspeed?
What is the indicated airspeed?
Indicated airspeed is 276 knots.
276.
Sir.
The ground speed.
Distance 449 nm. Alt 37,900. 462 kps.
462. Yeah, we're only at Mach decimal 85. That's nice on the outside view, because the engines aren't really high in power, we're just up at cruise. I like that view. I have noticed though in P3D there is a or I don't know if it's a bug, but like if you go to your desktop or something, the engine sounds in the sim disappear and you just get the wind. I don't know if it's like if the sim minimizes or something, but you do kind of lose the engine sound.
Alex Williamson's Blind Adventures, the 747-8 is pretty quiet.
Okay, fair enough then, Alex. Maybe it is.
Target room are selected.
Maybe it's just fine, because I mean, it is relatively quiet now, like on my headset. It's just I can't really hear the engine, so maybe it just is. But the thing is with P3D, and the thing that really, like, I love how accessible it is and everything. The problem is, like, after a bit, when you do OCR on the menus and you try and go into the menus, you just get the like P3D unavailable thing, and once it starts that, I've never been able to bypass it. So like once I land, I can't spawn to a gate or whatever, because it won't even let me sometimes go into the menus properly. Like NVDA just says, you know, oh, it's unavailable, and then you can still see the menus with object nav and the thing, but you can't actually interact. And people have said, like, just try clicking on something and it comes back, but I've never had any success with that.
Heading set to a true heading of 273 degrees. Next waypoint Pokin selected.
Interesting to see what landing rate we get with the manual speed approach with this aircraft, because this is one of the if I remember rightly, when I've flown it before, it's not been too bad to control, but of course it is a heavy, which always means that even with manual speed it's not the best. But you know, as long as we get a landing rate that's survivable, then you know, it'll be alright. We'll see. I think this aircraft has altitude callouts as well though. Should have. Oh, it's an FSX pilot thing. Okay, that's interesting. It doesn't do when it's not right. Interesting. I mean, it's not a major problem, because it like works when you go out of the sim. It's just if you go to the desktop or something and it completely minimizes, it goes really weird. But then, yeah, you just go back into the sim and it's fine. But obviously, FSX pilot thing is very strange. Yeah, that'd be nice, Marshall, if you could save different profiles, yeah. To make it more realistic, like if you want to hear the engines more. But I mean, I think, because doesn't the environment sounds also include the runway rolling sounds and a few other things? So it can be like, if you turn them down, you don't hear them as much. But it would be nice to be able to do different profiles. Even if you could just do like a GA profile, like commercial airliner profile, or like, you know, heavy aircraft. Or you'd probably do one for TSS, because the TSS ones seem to use the same wind sound and it's so loud. You can see Restream chat is being weird. I don't know what it's doing today. Something's not working with it because it's not reading the messages out, and then in like 5 minutes it'll read them all out from the past, 20 minutes or something. So it's not working properly. I don't know if they're having issues with their servers or something. We'll see. Oh right, okay. That's interesting. So yeah, it changed something. Oh, see, I was going to have that on to... didn't you say, Marshall, that also causes a problem with FSX? To keep the sound on when you go into all the windows. Didn't you say that, like, it can cause the sim to crash if you spawn to a runway or something? But yeah, okay, obviously you did something with that. That makes sense with that feature, yeah. I don't know, maybe it's conflicting with P3D, because P3D obviously, has the feature to keep sound outside the sim, and perhaps because FSX Pilot's trying to do something with it as well, it conflicts. I don't know. Oh, you don't think they're supporting the one? Oh. When did this happen? When did the new one come out? Oh, that's really annoying. Yeah, we'll have to see if we can get onto them about adding TTS, because that's a really useful feature. It was working fine, like, when I last streamed, which was back in, December last year, early December. But I came onto it today, and it's just been, like, really bad. It just doesn't seem to be pulling the messages properly. Maybe they're not supporting it anymore. Really? Oh dear. Marshall, okay, so what, like when you spawn it crashes? That's really weird as well. I mean, I've never had that feature on, the keep the sound when you change windows. But if it crashes the sim, then that's it's not a great feature altogether, is it? Oh right, yeah, then you have to load it up on the runway. Yeah, that's kind of annoying, isn't it? Because if you're loading up on VATSIM, as soon as you spawn onto the runway, usually they want you to take off straight away. You haven't got time to load FSXP and load your flight plan and mess about. Interesting. I don't know. I guess P3D fixes that problem altogether anyway, so it's whatever. I mean, the actual program client of Restream Chat isn't all that accessible, but I just use it because it does the
Next
TTS.
Next waypoint Bulra selected.
But obviously it doesn't. Well, it doesn't do it properly now. I don't know if you heard, Josh, I also found a way to get rid of the Eurofly identify
Next
thing.
waypoint Aston selected.
Or not to get rid of it, but if you want to do...
the P3D sounds being wonky like that is an FSX pilot thing.
Oh, bugger off.
It doesn't
One
do
second.
that when FSXP
I'm going to close
isn't running.
Restream chat.
Marshall Fairbrother, you need to be...
Yeah, it's not working properly and it's just going to read all the messages out. Yeah, I found a way to leave your computer, so I've done some Eurofly long hauls, because I haven't used Eurofly in a while before that, so I've done some Eurofly long hauls with it, and it works just fine. It's this auto hotkey program, so I can essentially just leave the computer, go, you know, and do like an overnight Eurofly long haul or something. Alright, okay Marshall, so you can't Alt-Tab, that's not such a big thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't use VATSIM as much as you know, so it wouldn't be a major issue for me, but I don't really want to have to load FSXP up on the runway. I much prefer to get everything set up at the gate, because, you know, I do my flight plan and get it all loaded in and all that. I don't really want to have to do it on the runway. Like, I don't know, it kind of feels not realistic, you know, they wouldn't set the plane up on the runway. And of course as well, if I do use VATSIM, which I don't do that often, but if I do, then it's not gonna be very easy. So I'll leave it as it is for now. How do you get minimum characters? I don't know. I didn't even know there was a minimum character thing. You shouldn't do that. Oh, okay, so that you can do all that in the new chat, so that's quite nice. You can see on both platforms, yeah, your viewers and the message. Okay, nice. Yeah, I'd like them to have the TTS thing, because that is really, like, it's nice just to, like, you know, wherever you are, whether you're creating your flight plan or flying the plane, it'll just work and it'll read it out. I'll have to get on to them about that, or you can message them as well, and then we'll see if we can get that added. Message. Oh, okay, so it does give you a minimum character. I mean, I've never really typed in live chats or any long messages. That's annoying. Yeah. See, that's where Twitch is probably better, but unless you're using it on
next
the,
waypoint Rosock selected
on the web, then it's not great. I mean, the iOS app is terrible on Twitch for the actual live chat. Yeah, I know with Twitch it does that, Josh. I know it reads them out. Yeah, I've had that before, which is good for my chat actually. As long as I'm in, I think you actually have to be in the web client you're using, don't you? And it reads them out. You can't like just be anywhere on the system. But that's good for mine. I don't like it with big streamers because it's just constantly reading. You love the TS, but yeah, I haven't done a lot of heli flying. I'm not really into helicopters that much, but I mean, they are by TSS, so I'd imagine they'd be pretty good. I'll have to uninstall this Restream chat then thing because it doesn't seem to be working. They've obviously pulled support properly for it, and I'll look at the web client, which obviously doesn't have text to speech, but at least I'll be able to read them properly on there. Because you know, I do like having them on text to speech because then everyone hears them on stream and they don't have to look at chat themselves if they're doing something else. But we'll see. Maybe they can add it. You can't connect to VATSIM on a runway, Josh. Like you have to go in at a gate. You have to actually connect at the gate. Contact the clearance and actually get the clearance. You have to get the clearance, and then they'll give you clearance to spawn to the runway, and then you just spawn, and they'll give you clearance to then take off. But you can't actually just connect on the runway and then get clearance from the runway. Yeah, what Marshall says. I mean, you could probably get away with that if it was an uncontrolled airfield and there wasn't, you know, there was no one around. No one would probably know, but especially if there's control, you can't do that. And even if there's not, by connecting on a runway, you're breaking the VATSIM code of conduct. And then if anyone reports you or sees you doing that, then you can be removed from the network, you know, and given various bans and whatever.
Track flight project. Track ground 464 K 37,998 feet. Altitude 321 nm. Microsoft Flight Simulator X.
I think we'll just do the one flight on this stream. I was thinking about doing the return, but it's probably going to be by the time I get a flight plan, because I'm going to have to get it all off SimBrief and then do it with FSXP, and then it's going to be, you know, at least another 2 hours back, probably more. So because it's, what is it, about 7:25 here already in the UK, and we've still got to get this down and landed, so we're not going to be done with that till about, you know, another hour or so. So yeah, we'll just do this one flight, but I may do another stream over the weekend or in the next week or so to take this aircraft back. But I have been making use of the Project Fly contract system. I've had a good few people take my aircrafts back for me to places, which is really useful. I don't know, I'm just organised like that. I like to have my aircraft all back at their correct bases. Alex, you've actually ridden, but yeah, I'd like to go in a helicopter actually, that'd be fun. I've never done anything like that. Obviously I've been on aircraft, but not a Bell or any type of helicopter. That'd be really fun. And I'd imagine in a helicopter you can actually feel it a bit more than a plane, because like obviously you can feel the takeoff in an aircraft and the climb out, but like once you do it, and like once you're up at cruise and like, you know, you're above a certain flight level, you don't really feel a lot at all. It's very kind of smooth, especially in the more modern airliners. Marshall, you got kicked off for squawking motor. Yeah, for not squawking motor. Yeah, they are quite strict on things like that. I mean, a lot of controllers are accommodating. It's really about personality, unfortunately for us, because there's nothing in the VATSIM. I've specifically looked. There's nothing in the code of conduct or the regulations that say you are allowed to spawn on runways. It says you're not allowed to do that. But obviously, for us, if we get permission to do that from controllers, then you know that's all right. And of course, you know, there are other things like FSX Pilot doesn't obey altitude restrictions, you know, we know all that, and speed restrictions, but they're usually alright with that. They usually don't even bother, or you know, they may say they'll give you a certain altitude, and that will be your altitude. that you'll climb to, and that's probably your initial altitude on that SID. And a lot of the time I've seen they'll just vector you. If you're off the SID, they'll just start vectoring you. But the audio codec is just terrible. Like, I can't wait for them to update it. It is being worked on, but like it's not out yet. It's not even in beta, the new audio codec. It's just, oh, please come on. They're using it's like a medieval codec. It's terrible.
RAM used. CPU at 62%.
Next waypoint Dobak selected.
Heard it's real closely. Yeah, that'll be great when it's out. It'll be a lot better, and I probably will use VATSIM more. It gives me a headache going on there. It's just ugh. And especially when you've got the trolls who, you know, they're either messing around making stupid noises down frequency, or, you know, someone who's got like a £2 microphone and it just sounds terrible. Like, you come off the network, it's like, oh, silence, finally. It just sounds bad. But yeah, I think it is pretty close to release. There's a few guys that are working on it, and I think they've got full-time jobs, but, you know, they're obviously working on it kind of on the side. But they're gonna kind of do some tests, I think, where they kind of give it to some controllers and pilots and they might do like fly-ins and stuff, you know, for people to test it out, and then it'll be released. But it's going to be a massive improvement. Yeah, the Pilot Edge is great. Pilot Edge is great. I'm not sure. Like, I know Zach used to do Pilot Edge flights on there. I don't know whether he was using FSX Pilot, but because they like to be really professional with everything that they do. But obviously, it is a paid service, and it only covers certain parts of the US where I don't fly a lot. So it's not like I don't think I'd be bothered with that. But VATSIM certainly with the new audio codec. And yes, Marshall, I heard a demonstration of it when Chewy demoed it on his stream, and it was like it was so much better than the old one, but it was almost too good. Like you say, it wasn't quite like you were on a server, but it was too clear. So I think they're going to have to add like some effects to it to make it sound a bit more kind of radio-like. Yeah, I bet you can really feel it, Alex. Yeah, and I bet you can, like in small Cessnas as well. I'd like to go up in one of them and actually be able to kind of really explore the cockpit, and, you know, maybe even like not fly it myself, obviously, but have someone there and do some stuff myself in like a small Cessna, because I'd imagine you'd really be able to feel more up there. Pilot Edge does have, well, I wouldn't call it a radio effect, but Pilot Edge used to be even more clear. Pilot Edge did sound like you were on some kind of server, you know, like not TeamTalk, but maybe like a TeamSpeak server or something. Like, it was too clear, but they did add some VHF kind of little effects to it, and you can kind of tell now. It's not like got crackle. I don't want crackle, you know, like in the background, like static. but it does have a little bit of a radio kind of thing, and hopefully that's what they're aiming for on VATSIM. I don't want them to add crackle and stuff like and distortion and all that in the background, because then it will be annoying. You know, I mean, we have enough to deal with it as it is, because you've got you know, you could have FSX Pilot talking, you've got the plane sound, you know, you've got MVDA going. You just want something with VATSIM that's nice and clear to understand, not like a jumbled up mess. London's an interesting place for us to fly. It's certainly fun in London on VATSIM. Sometimes it's great in London. Sometimes it can be interesting, especially like going into really busy places like Heathrow, because they'll give you instructions that you sometimes can't even do with FSX Pilot. You know. Because like in the FMS, like they might say be at this waypoint at a certain altitude, or keep this speed up until a certain DME towards this waypoint, and that can be awkward, but it's great fun flying there. Marshall, yeah, well, MC, yes, you can get it to read instruments. So in theory, you could, once you're up in the air, use MCE to use the joystick to fly around. Obviously, I don't know how much it tells you. I don't think it tells you like you know, everything that you'd need to know to fly the plane manually yourself, obviously, but it would tell you the basics, so you'd be able to kind of handle it yourself, especially like smaller aircraft, I'd imagine, if you just wanted to do some like kind of flying around with your joystick. Yeah. Yeah, Marshall. Yeah, there was certainly some. There's all sorts of different people on VATSIM. you can categorise them. There's, you know, you get the people who want to be really professional. You get the trolls who just come on to play music and crap down the frequency and mess around and, you know, fly incorrectly. You get the beginners who don't, you know, who come on without even reading the manuals and have no idea how to, you know, talk to ATC, and you just get a load of rubbish down the frequency. There's all sorts on there, but you know, that's kind of what you expect. VATSIM's a free network. Anyone getting into flight sim is gonna, you know, like most people will go like, oh yeah, ATC is an essential part, and they'll just go VATSIM and get on it, and you know, they may not know how to speak to ATC, and you know, people really should read all the stuff before they go on VATSIM, but a lot of people don't. They just go on and that's it, and then you know, they cause problems. But like I say, freeware network, you don't expect much less. Like, you wouldn't get that on Pilot Edge, but that's because it's subscription, so. Yeah, that's right, Orange. Yeah, that's what I mean. It reads the basics. Like, I don't think you'd be able to actually like land with your joystick with it properly, because you might end up, you know, anywhere really, because it doesn't give you that necessary info. But you could certainly fly your plane around and be able to do it with your joystick, because you know, you'd be able to make sure you weren't pitching too much. You'd be able to make sure, you know, if you were turning, how you were turning. And of course your vertical speed and all that, so you would certainly be able to kind of fly around a bit with it, with a joystick, I'd imagine. Yeah. I think you should be able to talk to default ATC, but it can be like, I've tried it before, and you've got to be very specific with what you say. But you should be able to transmit and stuff, and then it should respond in that way. but I'm not sure how well it actually works, as in whether it's kind of, you know, something that can be used to do a full flight, or whether you kind of get a lot of times where you transmit and it doesn't seem to pick up with default ATC. Alex, but oh, okay. So like once you're at cruise with the, or you know, up at your altitude, then you're fine in that thing. Nice. 219 nautical miles. We're not far off top of descent. MCE is a good tool. There's a lot that you can do with MCE, and I'm sure if you read the, I don't know if you got the manual, Marshall. You probably haven't because you got the demo. I don't know if it comes with a manual, but you know, there's a lot you can do, a lot to read up on, and there's, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean everything that you can do is going to help us, and it doesn't mean MCE does everything we need it to do at all. Which is why I'm using, I would still say FSX Pilot is my go-to kind of flying thing. I use that, and I will until MCE improves, you know, through you know, over time, or you know, another add-on that we find comes out that's better. But it does do a lot of things that can be helpful. Yeah, I almost like that, Alex, so that you don't feel the smooth ride in the Cessna, because like makes it a bit more interesting. Like in the commercial airliners, especially like the larger ones, the more stable ones, you know, like obviously in smaller like little E-jets and stuff, you might get bounced around a bit, and the good old Crash 8 Q400. But the Cessna and stuff, yeah, I think that'd be really fun to go up. Yeah, that's unfortunate, Alex. It's great to get something going, you know, with the whole blind flight sim thing, and do something, but because of distances it's just not really possible, but it would be, yeah, so that's something I do want to do at some point, is go up like in a Cessna or some kind of smaller aircraft, because the old commercial things are just so boring, you know, after a bit. But something like that, it'd be a lot more interesting. Like, it's interesting. I'm not that interested in simming with GA. Like, I've got GA aircraft and I do the odd GA flight, but I'm not that interested. I like the A2A Cessna 172. It's a very good aircraft and it's very immersive. For one thing, the sound stays on outside the sim, even in FSX. I wish other aircraft could do that, whatever they did. But yeah, it is very immersive. But I do like GA every so often, but I'm definitely more kind of tube liner on simming. But I think if I actually flew GA, I'd enjoy that a lot more. Just keeping an eye on this, because in a minute we're going to start descending. In fact, I'm just going to go and plug it in now, because we are at 38,000. Let's go down to 10,000 initially.
Altitude set to 10,000 feet.
Set climb. Let's just try going down at, like, I don't know, minus 1580. I know that's very specific.
Climb rate set to minus 1,580
we might as well get going down. Off we go. This aircraft does have call-outs, as you just heard. Sync rate. It does do that, by the way, with FSX Pilot, this aircraft. It gives you sync rate when it's descending. Obviously FSX Pilot's a little bit vicious on that. Yeah, we're not doing too bad. I am going to bring the speed back though to 0.83.
Speed set to Mach 0.83.
Because I think if we don't, we are going to really overspeed. And it's going to become a problem.
44.4% RAM used. CPU at 50.2%.
Right. Doing just fine on the RAM and all that stuff. When I'm coming in on approach, just be warned, I may not be reading chat as... the RAF Marshal, I don't know, well, I mean, I don't think they just take you up like that. I mean, I guess you'd have to know people to be able to do something like that. There are certainly like a lot of days out and stuff that you can do with aviation in the UK. Like there's tours of places, and there's a lot of like there's loads of places that do it, Marshall. Like the local Derby, it's in it's the local Derby airfield. They have you know, Derby. They have Cessna 152s, I think, and you can do introduction, like, and they'll take you up, and you know, you can do things. So I'd imagine you could do something with that, you know, at some later date. There are a lot of places where you can go up in small aircraft and do things. Now, obviously, you know, how they'd feel about us doing it, I don't know, like being blind and everything, and what to the extent that they'd allow us to do things. Obviously, you'd go up with an instructor, and then it will be up to the instructor what they'd allow us to do with the aircraft. But you know, they'd obviously be there all the time and ready to take control, or you know, because I mean, they're not going to go, you know, oh, here's the aircraft, go on, you can flip it upside down and do all sorts if you want. It would all be controlled, but it would certainly be an experience. You got tossed around by an osprey, yeah. That does sound interesting. Right, how are we doing? Speed's looking fine. 148 nautical miles. I am just going to wind that descent down a little bit.
Climb rate set to minus 1,700 feet per minute.
Always check that we're not going to start descending at a ridiculous rate. Yeah, we'll be fine. We're just going to keep going down. I've unchecked the FSX Pilot recover box because it always overspeeds at some point and then it starts messing about, so I'll take control of that. As you can hear, we're going down literally on idle, so fine. Let me get my joystick ready for when I have to plug it in and take control with the throttle. And we will. This will be my first landing with the new joystick. My first proper landing in an aircraft of this size, and it's live on stream, so it could go horribly wrong. Could have some real life entertainment as I smash a plane into the ground. You got to fly, yeah, nice. What did they actually let you do then, like with the flying side of things? It's been a nice stream today. We're obviously coming in on the descent. Yeah, we've had a nice little chat. There's been a good few people in here, considering I haven't streamed for a month and I don't usually stream on a Friday evening. It's always really awkward, like, with the streaming, because whenever I stream, there's always some people who aren't going to be here because of the time zones. We've got such a spread around community. There's people from the US, there's people from Europe, there's people right from Australia. So, but you know, it's been good. We've had you know, the old regulars here, of course. 28, we're doing all right. We'll get down.
Track flight, disk 123 nm. Disk 251, disk 123 nm. 27,104. Autopilot main panel dialog heading course HDG 251 degrees 0.83 Mach V/S minus 1685 FT slash ML 27,110 FT back 17.9250 nav edit multi-line greater. Microsoft Flight Simulator X.
Yeah, Josh. Yeah, that's a good way to do it usually. Oh, of course.
Autopilot edit multi-line SE space SEE 0.667.
Bring that speed right back.
Speed set to Mach 0.77.
That's why I uncheck recover, because it's going to do that. It'll come back. But yeah, there we go. Stop now. Yeah, that's good. That's a good idea. I mean, it really depends. Like, I feel like any time you stream, because of the time zone, if you've got people who watch from like Europe or whenever, then I think that must be because when I saw you doing your 787, it was about 5 AM 6 AM here, and I just got up and was starting to do stuff a little bit later, and I just kind of I just got the end of it, but the stream was kind of lagging. I could just hear the aircraft, so I was like, okay. And then something went wrong with your
target EHAM selected.
Right, it's already selected the target, which is perfect. So we're just going to go. We'll do a GPS auto land, because that's probably going to give me the best opportunity of not smashing it into the ground. ILS landings are more realistic, but they often result in
Switching to true heading display for the approach.
They often result in
Sir.
more, you know, the landing rates are often worse. I don't know why. I don't know if it comes in a bit steeper or what, but right, what's it set then? So 3270 minus 2, oh, that's nice. Okay, so we're coming in on a slow descent path. Yeah, so we've got 117 nautical miles to run to our first waypoint on the approach. I'll probably take control of the speed at like, you know, 20 nautical miles away or something, so I can get control. Because when you take control of the speed, you always get the you always get it where, you know, it takes a bit to actually properly work out the dynamics of the aircraft. Wow, that sounds fun, Alex. Yeah, that would be interesting going upside down. That would be, there. Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, I'd love to do something like that. Shut up, plane. Set speed, let's just go like 0.74 or something.
Speed set to Mach 0.74.
Oh, bugger off. I like these, the long hauls with FSX and P3D are good, but the annoying thing is, if I do it overnight, I have to have my well, I always have my computer like cooler on, because it keeps it, you know, it helps with the CPU usage and all that kind of stuff, and just keeps the CPU cool, etc. But because it's quite loud, I don't like to do them overnight, because I can't, like, you can hear it. It's a right pain. But I also want to have a pause at top of descent feature, which would be nice. Which radar contact I think has, from looking at the settings. I need to work out where that DLL goes or something to see if I can actually use it, but that had a pause at top of descent feature, plus of course it does the comms for me, so I haven't got to mess about with OCR. Yeah, I would really recommend a flight stick, Josh. It's a great addition. Like, it certainly takes some getting used to. Like, you don't just get it and, like, your manual approaches are great. Like, you will have some disasters, I'm sure, where you kind of stall and, like, random things happen. But it really is more immersive to do like, the things. And, you know, because I've got the throttle, and plus, I've got... Will this plane pack it in? It's getting on my nerves. Let's just go back 0.7. Yeah, because I have the joystick as well. I don't usually use the joystick because it's a bit more awkward with FSX Pilot, but if you just want to go up and mess around and like just fly around and test out the joystick, then you can do that as well. I think Eurofly 3, I don't even know if I'm supposed to... Actually, yeah, I can say this because it was made public on the mailing list, is going to have native joystick support as well. Which would be nice, you know, just as a kind of extra thing. You can just go up and fly around with the joystick on Eurofly and it'll have native support. So it's definitely worth getting one, I think. It doesn't have to be like crazy, you know, like top of the range, but certainly it's a good addition. It has okay, right, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'll probably put mine at like 200 or something, because I usually descend about 170, 160, but yeah, that's good. That could be very useful. I mean, usually if I do a long haul, I usually pick one that's I'm going to be up for, and then I'll come back to the computer, you know, an hour or so, whatever, before we actually start descending, because that's just, I don't know, I always pick that type of long haul. But it's always nice to know that if you do have to go and do something, it'll just pause the sim. I need... do you know actually, Josh, where I'm supposed to put that DLL? Was it the WoW 64 folder or something? I need to have a look what Kev said when he uploaded the DLL. Because I think, is it just kind of a case with radar contact then? Once you've got your auto comms on and you load your flight plan in, because we had some issues where you can only load certain flight plans in, like the Simbury flight plan worked, but the one from Online Flight Planner didn't, and stuff. But you just give it auto comms and like it'll do things, it'll contact clearance and do taxi and everything, and then you know you just kind of fly the plane and it does the comms. Okay, Windows, right, okay, yeah. I'll look at that then. Let me just sort this thing out again. I'm just going to set speed. Knots now. Because it's just going to make it easier for me to manage. Right. Let's go set speed 330.
Speed set to 330 knots.
Yeah. How far are we from TR1? Oh, we're still 75 miles, so we've got a load of room. Oh, I see, it doesn't put the altitude in. Yeah, fair enough. That's why it won't work then. Marshall, do you just put it in there? Yeah, I think so. You'd have to ask Josh to confirm because I haven't done it, but I think you'd just be able to. You just put the DLL in WoW60 in the Windows /WoW64 folder, and then it should just radar contact should work. And obviously you've got your auto comms and all that good stuff. What happened to yours, Josh, the other day? Because I saw you said on Twitter, or no, it wasn't Twitter, it was Skype, that it wasn't working or something, and you needed to update runways. Just manage the auto. Okay, that's great with comms. Can you spawn it to the runway, or do you have to taxi with FSX Pilot? Either way is fine, really. You know, I don't really mind, but I usually spawn, especially at large airports. But yeah, Alex, you just saw that. Oh, nice! You saw a plane going over your house like mine. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of them about. But it's very iconic, this plane, the Jumbo.
Autopilot main panel dialog heading course HDG 236 ideas 0330 KNTV/S-1069 FT/ML 13508 FTTR162.
I want to make sure we're at a pretty good speed so I don't have to, you know, like fight it. So I'm just going to bring the speed back to like 310 knots. I'm just going to start
speed set to 310 knots.
Incrementally bringing this back. Oh right, so you have to update radar contacts ERAC, do you? You have to do that with Navigraph. But I had no idea that Manchester got a new runway. Really? Wow, I didn't know, well not a new one, but I didn't know it changed to runway 06. Interesting. Oh right, okay, you have to update, okay. Yeah, I didn't know about 06 at all. I haven't heard about that. So when you say you update the sim, I update the sim with the runways and whatever, because I do the FSX NavAids update, which seems to update any runways or change anything like that. Do you also have to do the make runways thing for radar contact, or update it, or is it just updating the sim that updates radar? Right, I'm just going to go set speed 250 because we're coming up to 10,000
feet. Speed set to
feet.
250 knots.
So we might as well really start slowing down, so we're not going to encounter any problems. They're currently building a new oh, okay, interesting, Alex. Nice. Yeah, a lot of places, like Heathrow in the UK, is getting a new runway. I don't know about that. I didn't hear anything about Manchester changing it. I thought it was still the 5 left, 5 right, and the 2 3s. Interesting. Not the yeah, that's right. Yeah, the 2 3s and the 5s. Never updated the runway database because it's the NavAids thing's always done it for me in the sim. So you just get this make runways utility and you literally just run it, do you? Oh, okay. That's really interesting. Like all the data, I've just googled it, all the data's still showing 0 on the 5s. And like the latest navigation updates, I think in the sim is still on that, the 05s. I don't know, very weird. Right, how's this doing? 250 knots, just fine. And we're 32 out, so we're doing pretty good. Like I say, I'm going to take control of the speed pretty soon, but I'm in no rush. We're nice and slowed, ready. They're good planes, the Honda Jets. They are nice. They're just like, you know, good medium range, like good size for like families and stuff. They are. I'm sure and they're pretty good on like performance and fuel stuff for, like, you know. I mean, obviously they're not long range kind of stuff, but or, you know, like massively premium. But they get the job done, and it's certainly something that, you know, appeals to more and more people now. Right, okay, yeah. I get your orange, yeah.
File submenu. Autopilot main panel dialog heading course HDT 237 ideas 0250 KNTV /S minus 732 FT /MO 07330 FTTR 123.9200 Microsoft.
Right, I'll take control of the speed in not too long. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me I'll plug the joystick in now, but I'm not actually going to start using it yet. There we go, you'll hear it do that. It just it, like the sound pauses and I think it just reloads. Right, so the joystick's now plugged in. But I'm not actually using it at the minute. So if I'm not, I may not be able to look at chat as much, but I'll look at anything when I land. Right, let's go in here then. Get it to do that. We just make sure that's working.
250 knots.
It is. So, I think I should have speed control.
250
yeah.
knots.
Do I have speed control? Yes, I do. Right, perfect.
268.
As you can see, it does start making a difference. So I'm just going to stick out a notch of flaps, because that did speed us up quite a bit. Because when I take control, it's that's why I like to do it early. It makes it a lot easier.
252 knots.
As you can see, the speed's now coming back. I want to be at about 180, 170 when we're coming in, and then of course, on actual approach towards the runway, I want to be at about 150 knots ish. Will do the job. Right. As you can see, coming back nicely. There we go, 226 knots. Throttle's on idle at the moment.
214 knots.
And it's coming back slowly. I'm going to put some power in a minute.
Knots.
Right, let's give it 50% power. See how that does. I don't want to gain speed back.
206 knots.
Yeah, that's gaining a bit too much speed back, so I'll just bring him back a bit more. How far are we out?
Autopilot main panel dialog heading course HDT 238 ideas 0213 KNTV /S minus 365 FT /MO 0513 FTTR 111.1
11. Right, we're just fine. We're in no rush. I'll bring the throttle back a bit more.
211 knots.
Could do another notch of flaps in a second. Yeah, I'm not going to look at the chat now, so if anyone puts anything in, I will read all the stuff when I get down. Right, just going to give us a little bit of power. Just start introducing a bit of power, because I still want us to lose speed, but
191 knots.
there we go. That's pretty good there. I haven't flown this aircraft in a good while, so I'm trying to work out how much power you need before it starts speeding up again.
205 knots.
Tell you what, I'm going to put out another notch of flaps there, just to help us. The more configured we are, the better. Right, with the speed's just getting away a bit, so I'm just bringing the throttle back, right, and that should do us some good.
203 knots.
We're hanging around the 200 knot mark, which is just fine for me. Perfect, let's just give it a bit of power here. Trying to work out how much power we're going to need.
195 knots.
Looking good. It's a bit of a juggling act, but it's fine. We'll come in full flap as well.
202 knots.
Let's bring the throttles back again. But we're pretty much stable. We're just like in a range of like 500 knots or something.
199 knots.
Don't think we're at TR1 yet. Well, we possibly are, but we're fine.
191 knots.
Right. I want the speed to stay about there.
188 knots.
About there is just perfect.
$192 knots.
As you can see, we gained it a little bit, but we're just fine. Let's just see how far we are.
196 knots.
Right, perfect. We're at TR1 pretty much. Bring those throttles back even more.
194 knots.
And we are keeping speed just fine. I'm not even having to, well, I'm not having to go pretty much above 50%. Oh, well, we're losing a lot of speed there.
178 knots.
Power. This is the kind of thing you've got to learn, when to put in power.
192 knots.
And going more flaps.
189 knots. 193 knots. 190 knots.
Looking good. Just going to lose a little bit more speed.
178 knots.
It's not too bad there. One is about 180.
189 knots.
There's probably a bit of wind as well. It's also going to affect us.
182 knots. 176 knots.
Yeah. Doing alright on the speed there. I've got about a 50% power in, just to help us.
181 knots.
It's good. I'm almost tempted to do another notch of flaps. Let's do it. I want to go full flap anyway. If the gear warning starts going off, then we'll just put the gear down.
185 knots. 176 knots. 179 knots.
Right, we're relatively stable. There goes the gear.
27 knots. Gear down.
And I'm going full flap.
Landing lights on.
Now, how much power are we going to need here? We want to slow down.
185 knots.
So let's bring this throttle right back. Because I want us, like I said, about 150 now, because we're coming in on the final approach. Now, we do need to watch it here.
176 knots.
As you can hear, the wind's just died away.
$171 knots.
Let's keep bringing that back.
S.
Beautiful.
2,500.
163 knots.
Okay, we're coming in good on the speed. As you heard, the 2,500. Perhaps a little bit low, but we're fine.
157 knots.
Right, good.
166 knots.
Looking good, a little bit fast, so I'm going to bring them back a bit more. Now look to idle the throttles about 30 feet. Just bleed off a bit more speed.
knots.
I'd much rather, as I always say, have more speed than less.
$159 knots.
Nice, so we're bleeding that speed off a little bit, which is good. That's what I prefer.
158 knots.
Slowly. Not by the looks of it.
1,000 feet.
Sink rate.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sink rate.
Sink
Yeah,
rate.
it always does this with FSX Pilot, don't worry.
Sink rate.
Sink rate.
Shut up.
Sink rate.
Sink rate.
Sink rate.
Oh, let's keep that throttle back.
175 knots.
We're a little bit fast.
500.
500. 163 knots.
I think we can pretty much just keep the throttle back.
400.
We're doing alright.
300.
153 knots.
Looking good.
200.
Sink rate.
100. Sink
100.
rate. Minimum 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
And we're down. That sounded very bumpy, but there goes reverse thrust.
154 knots.
Don't sink. Minimum 40, 30.
What the hell was that?
243 knots.
Do you mind FSXP? I want to actually land.
$162 knots.
Are you going to slow down?
Terrain.
I don't think it landed. It didn't sound like it landed that properly at all.
200.
Pull up.
110.
Pull up.
Lol. Right. Is that reverse thrust?
35 knots.
Oh, okay. We've landed now. Right. Reverse thrust out.
Heading set to a true heading of 41 degrees.
Yeah, we're down now.
Good
Okay.
Let us
Well, that was
taxi
interesting.
ramp, sir.
But there we go.
0 knots.
That's us
0
down
knots.
with a, but like, yeah, you can see what I mean with FSX Pilot and approaches, especially in this aircraft. But there we go, it's fine.
0 knots.
Yeah, my joystick's still connected. Let me take that out. Anyway, we down after, I don't even know what it did. I don't know if it hit something on the runway or if it bounced. It sounded like it was coming in very fast. But there we go. We'll go and have a look on Project Fly.
Say submenu list.
Let's shut that up.
Main menu bar. Activate. Work and vote. World activate. Time. Go and vote. Dialog. UUEE edit. E. H. AM. They're active run. 36R. KT10 gate small. KT15 gate small.
Right, we need to correct
KT76 ramp large.
gate.
KT85 ramp large.
No.
KT96 ramp.
No.
KT6 gate small. KT10 gate small.
Where is it? I just want a medium gate at least.
KT41 gate small. KT49 gate small. KT53 gate small.
I think these are all the small gates.
KT93 gate small. KT19 gate heavy.
Yeah, we'll go there.
Okay.
That's a gate for a heavy, which is what we are, obviously.
Microsoft Flight Simulator Edge.
Simulation
Right.
unpaused. Time acceleration is 1.
Engines off, then. That was, well, I mean, I would not have liked to be on that plane in real life. Like I said, I've no idea what it did. It did I think what it did was the thing where FSX, like, if you hit something, or something like that, it'll launch you back into the air. So I think it hit something, or it didn't land it properly, and then we launched back into the air, and then it came back and kind of landed again. But whatever.
S.
That was interesting. Right, I'm going to catch up with the chat now. You recommend downloading... I'll tell you what. You mean, okay, so if you download the Navigraph thing, does that also update the actual simulator files? Obviously, yeah, you have to do FSXP manually. How can I increase my... Because my throttle has a 50% detent thing on it, like, so I know where 50% power is. You ran no, I don't think we ran off the end of the runway, Marshall. I don't even think it landed it correctly. We weren't even on the ground for that long. I think it just hit something, or it didn't. I have no idea. Yeah, I didn't get these same sounds, Josh, but I do have the GE sounds which were made for the 7.8 and the Rolls-Royce, and in neither of them there is a battery sound. Yeah, I have the same thing. I've no idea why. The Navigraph download. Right, okay, that's interesting. I'll have to have a look at that. Right. That's going to be about it then. That's all the questions answered. I've gone through all the stuff in the chat which happened whilst I was on approach. I need to practice approaches in this aircraft and see if I can get it to work a bit better. This Riku 7478 is not the best with FSX Pilot. With its throttles and stuff. It's just about flyable, but as you hear, you keep getting sync rate, so obviously FSX Pilot's been a bit vicious with the way it does stuff. It's apparently the autopilot sound, but yeah. Anyway, that's the flight done. We kind of got down. Oh no, it's not. I need to go on a project fly, don't I?
Altitude 3 feet. Ground 0K. Cruise and flight. Left. Fifth lunge. 4 net off. Swap 12 rules. I have planned -4672.
Yeah.
-4672.
There you go. That's why FSX Pilot landed it ridiculously. Obviously, I may go and have a look at its pitch setting for this aircraft. I don't know if it needs to go up or if it needs to go down, but it was saying sync rate, and we were coming in way too fast.
Heading left. Graphic. Clickable export route. Webster heading level. Clickable. Account type. Total flights.
I wonder if it'll show me...
Cancel flight button.
I'm not even going to complete this flight, to be honest with you, because that will just destroy my average. I'll tell you what, no. I will complete it because it'll show me some stuff and then I can always delete it. It destroys your average landing rate.
Cancel button. Complete button.
Complete.
View flight project flight. Landing event. Flight date. Declan Webster heading level 5. Landing events heading level. Landing
oh no, it only has the one landing.
Z. Time landing rate -4,600. Land -29.586.
Let me have a look at the pitch.
-0 degree pitch.
See, the pitch is 0 degrees, which is interesting.
100 speed, 115 kts.
The speed was fine, so I've no idea why it had such a problem. I mean, the speed is a bit low, but when we were coming in on approach, we were about 150 knots, so we pretty much are out on the speed. But this aircraft just has a problem with it. No idea what's going on with it. Anyway, we kind of landed. The second time it landed fine. Once it had launched us back into the air. Let me go and have a look at the actual interesting information. 249 on the block time. Blah blah blah. 1,157 nautical miles. Yeah, we know about that. We had 404 passengers who are all probably now dead. 1733 we took off. That's when we arrived. And that's pretty much it. Let me check the chat again. Up and then was thrown across the aircraft. Yeah, you probably would have been if you were on my aircraft with that landing rate. Marshall says he's on Team Talk. Right, yeah, okay, I'll come on Team Talk. You can come on Team Talk, Josh, as well if you're around later anyway. But anyway, that's pretty much going to be it for the stream. An interesting stream. First and foremost, we had a fun stream. That's all that matters. I don't really care about the flight as long as we enjoyed the stream. But the flight went well until landing. I have no idea what happened there with it. I think, like, I may need to tune. The throttle settings are right for this aircraft, but the pitch and stuff needs to be looked at. But other than that, it'll do. Right, I will see you. I don't know when. Like I say, I may try and tune this aircraft and then return it at some point within the next week or something from Amsterdam back to Moscow, because they do the return flight. But I hope you've enjoyed the stream. It's been fun, and other than that, I will see you all whenever on Extreme or upload a video. Thanks for watching, and let me just check the chat again. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. We're all sorted with that.